It was really good to be back out in the factory playing football again, and especially having, a crowd there. We do want to shout out our student section. We thought they were awesome before, during, and all the way through the end. So it was really good atmosphere that they created, and really appreciated that. Got off to a fairly good start, I think, in the first half. Played pretty good football, not perfect. Not knowing what they were going to do, having not played for 2 years, and any first game is, you have some apprehension and anxiety about what people are going to do. 2 years is double the anxiety, and they did do some things that we weren't necessarily ready for, but I think pretty quickly our guys got to a certain level of comfort with what was going on, and we played pretty good football. And I was just a little bit disappointed, with our energy and effort in the second half. But overall, it was a pretty good first game. Good to get a victory. Got to play people, and so we're off to a decent start on Sunday. Everybody in the room knew that we have to get a lot better. But it was a lot of fun getting out there.
Tom, questions?
Coach, you guys continue to be excellent in the red zone. Is it a point of emphasis for your team when you get down to the red zone? And what has been the key to such good execution, not just in this game, but even last season?
Well, I don't know that we work the red zone any more than anybody else. You try to work all the areas of the field, and you have a plan. We got into some really good situations where we were, first and goal and just 1 or 2, 3 yards to go, and so we were able to pop touchdowns in. I think when you go back to last year being 100%, that includes our field goal kicking, and Chad and gang were obviously 100% in the red zone. I think you only missed 2 all year, and they were both plus 50 kicks. So it was really a combination of having a really good field goal kicking team and then executing in the red zone. But our guys do believe what we're doing when we get down there, and obviously want to score points. So we're off to a good start.
Could you talk a little bit about the three-headed monster you have at running back with Boone, Hamilton, and Evans? It seems like each of them brings something special to the table when they're in the lineup.
Yeah, we even think it's deeper than that, to be honest with you. But, Boone, when he was healthy last year, we played well, and we ran the ball well. He's a powerful back that has speed, and he has had as good of an offseason, his best offseason for sure. It's just elevated his game. He just got more serious about his body and about getting better, and it's showing. And then, Sampson only got to play sparingly last year as well, due to injuries, and so he's healthy now, and we really like him on third down, his ability to catch the ball and protect, and then he's a bruising running back. You saw him on the short yardage and the goal line situations where he's pretty good at it. And then Juwan is lightning in a bottle. He's incredibly explosive. I just love how hard he ran the ball. He's had a very successful career, and we're really excited about what he brings to the table for this season.
Coach, you guys put up big offensive numbers, and you really did it without a number of explosive plays. You had the shovel pass to Vaden that went for 44 yards, but really, you just busted it off in big chunks. Were you happy with the way the offense performed in this game?
Yes, in some ways, and no in others. But again, some of that's credit to their defense. Just gave us looks that we weren't ready for. And then I think they were a little bit out of sorts with our tempo. And I think that's something where we got a lot of chunk plays where they weren't necessarily ready or set. And so we were ripping off some pretty good runs in our tempo. But that also, it's just a double-edged sword, when you're giving lots of looks and doing a lot of different things. Sometimes when an offense goes fast, you can catch them. But, we turned the ball over once. Took it away twice in the special teams. We had a turnover, so we didn't win that battle. We were efficient in our passing game, but a couple of really nice long fades that were really good, but I don't think we really got into a rhythm in our passing game, and our run game was led by our tempo. And then, I think that we executed really well in that way. Our run efficiency was high, which was really good to see.
Coach, can you give me your evaluation of the two quarterbacks you played on Friday night and how they performed?
Yeah, I think, again, for seeing defenses that, we had not seen them run, there was a period for us as a staff and for our quarterbacks where we had to try to figure out what they were doing and how we were going to apply that or apply our offense to that. But, 15 to 22, I think we ended up. We threw the one interception, didn't have any touchdowns in the air, but we're trying to take what they gave us, and I thought they managed the game well that way. And then, there were some checks in the run game, and for the most part, really did a good job with that. I think it was like 39 plays to 42, pretty even that way. And, they both have their strengths that are both going to serve our team well. And so I think overall it was pretty good.
Can you talk about the defensive side of the ball? Were you happy with the performance you saw out of that side?
Yeah, we were. We had to do better running the football offensively, and had to do better being stingy against the run. And I think we saw that on Friday night, and they weren't very effective in the air against us as well. There's a couple explosive plays that they got, but I think for the most part we felt pretty good about how we played defensively. Our hustle grade was high. Our stop downs grade was high. Took the ball away twice, and so I think it was a pretty good first outing.
My last question for you, Coach. You take on Wisconsin this week. You've had tremendous success against the Big Ten at Eastern Michigan. Is there something you can put your finger on a week like this on why your program has been so successful in Big Ten matchups?
I think that I think every game is separate. Just because they're from a conference, I can't compare Wisconsin to playing, Rutgers in 2017 or Purdue in 2018 or Illinois in 2019. All of the scenarios, situations, the programs, all of those things are different. Listen, this is the best football team that I'll have ever coached against in my entire life. And certainly in these last 8 years at Eastern Michigan, these guys are phenomenal. And it's not, this year. I mean, they've been great for over a decade. I thought that they outplayed Penn State, didn't win the game, and, had some situations that I wish that, they wish they could have back, I'm sure. But when you look at the totality, of the game, I thought that they were, the better team. They didn't win the game, but I think they're the better team, and they're phenomenal.
Dave,
Coach, I appreciate it.
Yep.
Dave, I know you're on. Questions for Coach Creighton? Dave, can you hear us?
Well, he's trying to reconnect. Coach, how will you practice this week to get ready for the environment in Madison and that crowd noise?
Yeah, I mean, we have a system that we use, just to fabricate really loud noise that we'll do. It's been really helpful for us in the past when we've been in environments, where it's hard to verbally communicate with each other. And so we'll do that. We're not going to make that the total focus of the week by any means. I mean, it's the people on the field that makes them so great. But yeah, we've got to be ready for situations where we can't hear each other, and so we'll have to communicate well.
How'd you come out of health-wise week one there?
Well, I mean, we were dropping like flies. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. Thankfully, not all of those are long term, but one's too many. and we certainly had our fair share. So it's a brutal game, and that Friday night was not great for us injury-wise.
Okay.
Dave Grickey, are you able to talk now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Chris, can you talk about who you plan on starting at quarterback at Wisconsin and your quarterback strength? And then just a bit about Vaden and what he brings to the team.
Yeah, we haven't made a decision yet on quarterback. We went into this last game wanting to play them both for very good reason, and so that's what we had, this last game. And then, Haas is he's a weapon for us now. He came out of the game fairly early, but when he was in there, he had already helped out our team a lot, was very productive. He's just got a low center of gravity and can make cuts at full speed, and he's just a tough football player. So we like to get the ball to him in as many ways as we can.
Anything else, Dave?
All set, thanks.
Our first student athlete we'll bring up is Russell Vaden. Talk about his ability to come back last year, went down with an injury, battles back, and is in the rotation for you right out of the gate this year.
Yeah, he's the comeback kid in more than one way. It took him a little while just to get into the rhythm of school and in our program when he was younger and not playing. And I count him as one of the greatest success stories that we've had here. He is an unbelievable human being. He's a great player, obviously, and then he's also a great student. And it didn't start out that way, but the ability he had to sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to get this done because I can, is just awesome. And then to have that injury in the Ball State game of last year and miss essentially all of the shortened season. The way that he has attacked his rehabilitation and just his positive attitude. He progressed as a leader this offseason without having played, football. Thankful that he's back, and he's already, making a difference with a great interception, on Friday night. So he's a special one.
Ready? Thanks for coming. What was it like, first off, to be back out there after the process that you've had to go through?
It was a blessing to be out there. I was able to get that feel of being a little kid again. You don't get too many opportunities, and this was a grateful opportunity that I was able to have coming off of an injury, tearing my Achilles in the Ball State game. It was able to sit me down and humble me a little bit more. And I was very excited to be out there with that team running around, and I felt like a kid again, just having fun.
Dave, do you have any questions for Russell Vaden?
Russell, can you talk about that interception and how that play unfolded?
Yeah, I can't really say too much. I just did my job, and the ball was able to be there, and I just made a play on it. I can't really say too much or anything special happened. I just did my job and was able to capitalize when the opportunity presented itself.
Can you talk about how you and the defensive unit felt as a whole over the course of that game and with your play?
Yes, sir. I think overall we played well, but we didn't play to our full potential. The second half, I'll start with the first half. The first half we came out, we was very positive, we was dominating. And the second half came out, we kind of got lackadaisical on executing the things that we needed to execute. So I feel like overall it was a good win, but we still have more to improve on.
On a personal note, how did it feel for you? You played 2 games last year, then you had an injury. How did it feel for you to be back out on the field?
It felt amazing. Once again, it was a blessing. You don't get too many opportunities like this, and a lot of people don't get these opportunities. So to be able to be back out there with that team, it was a blessing. And I felt like a kid again. You know how you get those jitters like your first day of school? That's kind of how it felt when I got back out there. It was a fun experience, and hopefully we can continue to keep progressing.
Can you talk about, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, can you talk about going into Camp Randall on Saturday? Looking forward to that?
I am. I would say the biggest thing that we'd have to do is don't get too overwhelmed or get caught up in the hype. We just really got to do our job. I have a wristband that says humble over hype, and I wear it every day. That's probably the biggest thing that I'd say. You have to be humble going into games like those. Even though that you know it's going to be a big opponent, you have to take it on like it's a regular game. So I'd probably say the biggest thing for us is being humble, but attacking it with a mindset knowing that we can compete with those guys.
Thanks.
Russ,
What do you think of the home environment, the fans being out there, being able to play from the crowd for the first time?
That's been amazing. That right there that's what you live for. You live for those types of games, having a crowd that's behind you and giving you more enthusiasm than you already have being out there. So it's just extra fuel to the fire. So I definitely appreciate the students, the fans, everybody that came out and supported us, and hopefully that we can continue to keep improving on whoever's coming to these games so we can build our environment and building a foundation for the rest of the following years.
Russ, one thing Coach talked about is the depth that you guys have, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Also, the coaching staff has made a huge impact since they've been here. Prior to Coach Nether getting here in 2016, only 8 times in the last 10 years had your defense put up 10 or more sacks. It's happened 13 times since 2016. You guys did it again on Friday night and shut out an opponent in the third quarter. Yet again, that's the 14th time in 32 games. Talk to me about what goes on in that locker room with that coaching staff and what it's like to play for Coach Nether.
Man, it's a lot of preparation that comes behind that. We held to a very high standard, and I think that we live up to that standard. We have days where it can fluctuate, but it's also knowing that everybody in that room has potential. So we have to be able to develop the younger guys and help us improve. So I think depth, as far as everyone coming along, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. So we can definitely continue to keep trying to push the younger guys. But overall, I think we're doing a great job in the locker room. Everybody's sticking together. It's a brotherhood in there, and I definitely feel like we have the chance to be great. So that would be my answer to that one.
Could I ask you about one of your teammates? What's Peavy like? He almost split a guy in half out there on the field. He hits like a missile.
Man, that's Peavy, man. That's TJ. We call him Swaggy P. He does an amazing job. He just does his job. He's a cool, calm, collected guy. He don't really get overwhelmed too often. He just does his job, and he's very humble. And I definitely say TJ is going to be a big part of this defense for sure.